Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ladies and gentlemen, I think the crowd is a little bit subdued. This is not the Trinidad and Tobago that I know. And permit me, before I even do the acknowledgements, to ask you to give a lusty, hearty round of applause, as I know we can, for Al-Hikmat and for the work of Sheikh Satpail. I'm not hearing you. That's a little bit more like the Trinidad and Tobago that I know. May I say that it is an absolute pleasure to spend today with you. It's been a long time since I've had the privilege of retreating to peace, positive reflection, doors opening, intelligent conversation. Al-Hikmat is such a beautiful journey which has such a powerful name, which is rooted in wisdom. But when I thought about it, there's perhaps one word better to describe this in conjunction, and it is khidmah, or service. This is really service at work. And in asking Sheikh to allow today's proceedings to go the way that they did, having spoken with him this morning and with my brother Kazim, I have to say that we asked Sheikh to speak first, because we, the politicians, have come to lend support and not to take any of the central focus away from this khidmah, from this hikmat, from this service and from this wisdom. And now I'm permitted to do all of the protocols in observing all of the many scholars here today, the many benefactors, the many heads of religion. But permit me, lawyer as I am, politician as I now am, free microphone in front of me, to take advantage of a small bit of communication. We are in trouble, ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't notice. And when I say we, it's not just the global phenomenon, it's the local phenomenon. The Islam that I know, the Islam that I was born into, saw in the Middle East and seen in Trinidad, celebrates religion, celebrates knowledge, celebrates service. When the adhan is called, everything stops, and the world stops and reflects upon a call to prayer. When I was a young child, growing up and watching what Iraq looked like and what Trinidad looked like, I was often a child, when I returned back to Trinidad, I felt a sense of being an alien in many ways. Because the two worlds that I knew were so drastically different from each other that Trinidad and Tobago was very insular in those days. I was the only 12-year-old or 14-year-old in my geography class having a full-on fight with my geography teacher because the map of the world didn't have Palestine on it. And they couldn't understand what I meant by that. But so insular was our perspective then that the brothers and sisters that I went to school with didn't understand what I was talking about. They were two very different worlds. But these worlds are now one. With the internet, with the open transmission of communication, with the world at our fingertips. The world is now in our homes. And we heard our brother ask a little while ago, basically, why can't there be peace in the Middle East? Respectfully, I think it's a little bit larger than that. Why couldn't there be peace in Trinidad and Tobago? And I'll tell you what it is and why I have reflected upon my roots and what I saw as two very different worlds and which I now see as one. You see, the Islam that is celebrated is one which opens its doors. The Islam and giving in to religion and having that submission to Allah is born through invitation. Invitation means open doors. Invitation means speaking to the people who we don't normally speak to. But permit me to be a little bit bold. Much of our Islamic community is perceived to be insular. The outside world may see a hijab, may see a jalabiyah, may see us walking and talking amongst ourselves, but very few people come in other than for sawine or for a wedding or to get little glimpses of what Islam is about. But is it true that in our country we have two types of Islam? There is the Islam that is borrowed by criminality and portrays itself as the Islam that the world pays attention to right here in Trinidad and Tobago. And the khutbah in Trinidad is not televised. Some of it is only through some of our networks. But the khutbah in Trinidad isn't really going out of the comfort zone into the spaces of other communities and telling people that we Muslims are not different from we Christians or we Jews or we Hindus. Isn't it written, do not destroy the synagogue or church, for their good worship is done? Isn't that the basic tenet of tolerance for religious belief across Islam? But are we doing our part in stepping out of our khutbah, in stepping out of our masjid, in stepping out of our madras? Are we doing our part to go and reclaim the true Islam that Trinidad and Tobago should see? Or are we going to have gangs borrowing names belonging to Islam? Are we going to have people pretend to be Muslim, carrying out nefarious activities? Are we not going to carry out the good work that should be done to say, take notice, Sajjal ana Arabi, take note I am Arab, or Sajjal ana Muslim, take note that I am Muslim, and this is the truth of what it should be. You see, this is why I am so pleased to come here today, to support the work of Al-Hikmat. This is why I am so pleased today to ask for open-mindedness, to ask brothers and sisters to be more effusive in our views, to step out of traditional comfort zones, to reclaim the truth of what we are. There are quite a few good brothers and sisters who are being excellent conveyors of good messaging, acting as peacemakers, but they stand alone often. There doesn't seem to be a chorus behind them. Very often, and I can tell you this, when you step into the public life, what is the hardest part of it is not the service. It's the very generous portion of ridicule that comes along with it. And ridicule is not an easy thing, you know. As we sit in our armchairs or watch our television stations, it's easy to participate in ridicule through inaction. And so it isn't easy for some of our brothers and sisters who are acting as peacemakers or coming out to spread the truth about Islam to stand alone. And therefore I want to ask you, brothers and sisters, leaders as you are, in your own ways, to step out and give support, to check the facts and not just repeat statements. Because that's a lot of what's going on. A lot of people repeat without checking the accuracy of what is said. We started a conversation in relation to anti-terrorism. Why have we done that? Some allege that the colonial masters, as they're perceived to be, are pulling the strings of the government of Trinidad and Tobago. There are international obligations that we have to observe, lest we become blacklisted. But our country, Trinidad and Tobago, has exposure because we have our oil and gas assets in international corporations which are exposed. But how many of us have stepped out and said, in relation to our proposed anti-terrorism laws, that this has nothing to do with Islam? Instead, some of our brothers and sisters come forward and say, this is all about Islam, and we feel threatened. The truth is that conversation has to be ongoing, because there is a protection to be had by making sure that our brothers and sisters are not victims. You asked about security and screening. You have Pakistani son-in-laws. Try walking with an Iraqi name and getting randomly screened every single time you travel. And having people ask you why you speak Arabic and French and Spanish. And then your answer is, I didn't know it was a sin to be educated. And then they give you 4 more hours of secondary screening just for being bold enough. Where my kids are afraid to speak Arabic and tell me, Dad, shh, don't speak Arabic in the airport. Somebody may be listening. Really? All of us are children of descendants from somewhere else, and we all lost our languages. Why? How come? Isn't it because our parents felt that speaking our mother tongue, Hindi, Urdu, Arabic, Chinese, whatever it might be, was going to be a way of non-integration, and we therefore quickly lost our languages behind us? Well, the truth is, the protection to be provided to our brothers and sisters includes, if somebody provides secondary screening for you, Trinidad and Tobago wants to be able to say, we know this brother and we know this sister, and we've done our due diligence on our brother and our sister, and you cannot hold them unjustly because we have evidence of their good character and their good name and their good family roots. And that is a very real part of the anti-terrorism laws which I am prosecuting. But brothers and sisters, does it stop there? Where is the voice of the many to say enough is enough, analysis paralysis? We're having a very active discussion in our country about the pace of the criminal justice system. We cry out for mercy from Allah. We say, where is the deliverance from this evil? But those who want us to do nothing say, let's talk some more. Let's leave it the way it was, without coming out with facts to say, in relation to this, I think that. In relation to that, I think this. Could you please reconsider? Please, brothers and sisters, let's be constructive in our criticism, which Brother Kazim and I, as servants for the time being, I'm a 3rd generation politician. My grandfather was in Parliament, my mother was in Parliament, and I'm in Parliament, but they're all the lesson of a quick revolving door. Both Kazim and I abhor pomp, ceremony, and Mr. Minister this and Mr. Minister that. Because that door turns very, very quickly. And right now in Trinidad and Tobago, that door turns precisely in 41 months' time. And we're counting in weeks as well. But we do want to open the minds of brothers and sisters through the reach out and reclaiming of our country, which Al-Hikmat is clearly capable of doing and is to be applauded for doing, but by way of a facilitation and catalyst, because this is a catalyst to assist everybody, all of our religious bodies, all of our respective sects. People ask this unfortunate question, are you Sunni, are you Shia, are you Ahmadi, what are you? Really? Does it matter? It's why I don't wear religion on my sleeves. Only because I'm born from a Presbyterian mother with a Hindu grandfather, a Muslim father, married to a Catholic Syrian. Can you imagine the amount of licks I would take? You know what the hardest battle for me was? Standing up on the Parliament wondering which book to swear in on. Wishing I could grab all. But the truth is, when you practice law, and when you've sat in the Parliament, the scariest day sometimes is when you watch someone, with the greatest of respect, I don't mean to be pejorative, when you watch somebody give an affirmation because there's no statement of belief in God. I remember the first time that happened to me in a trial in the High Court, and I saw an affirmation for the first time. I knew it technically. I solemnly affirm that I'll tell the truth. But it wasn't, I swear by Almighty Allah, or I swear by Almighty God. And for that one moment in time, my heart paused, and I said, here is the stone that Allah spoke about that could not be opened. And He created it that way. But we still have to reach out, as Brother Shafayat has, to the atheists and to those who don't believe, because the lesson is important around us. So Sheikh, thank you for my 2 minutes at the microphone. Thank you for being a catalyst to Trinidad and Tobago, your mother country as well. Thank you for carrying the message of Almighty Allah forward. Thank you for being Ibn al-Khidama, the son of the servant. In Iraq, very often when you are last given a drink or somebody ignores you, you look around and say, Shlon, Ani Ibn al-Khidama, am I the son of the maid? Usually meaning, what happened? I have no manners for me. But really it's also a brand of title and privilege that you are the son of service, and you epitomize that for us, Sheikh, as many of your brothers in the Islamic community do, and more particularly our sisters, the rocks of our existence in all of our communities do. Thank you for the opportunity to be of small service and to support your effort. I'm confident that this will be born into barakah, which will multiply and multiply and multiply. I thank you everyone for your kind attention. I know you will end today, not with me getting a gusty round of applause, but making sure that Al-Hikmat gets a gusty round of applause. And to your sons-in-law, Trinidad and Tobago have been playing Pakistan for 3 days. I don't know how it's going today, but I'm hoping that we win. So no pressure on you, just letting you know how we go. Ma salama to all. I leave you in peace. Fi iman Allah. Thank you very much.
Takbir.
Allah.